So hello guys, this is of course my little webcam piece that I promised. Of course it's not a webcam, it's just me recording on my phone, but as you can see on Discord, I actually promised to have webcam on the next video. I'm not gonna use it for the whole video, of course, because it's not the point of this. It's not the point to show my face or anything like this, but actually to share some of my knowledge on the class and the PvP mode of Ragnarok Online, which is kind of fun, I guess. This video gave me some trouble to record and to edit. I'm putting some effort on this, so I hope at least it helps someone, and if it does, I'm glad it did. So thank you and hope you enjoy.
Well, hello guys, it's Vito here. Today's video is a video about tips and tricks to the Stalker class, or Shadow Chaser, or whatever you wanna call it. I want to take this moment just to give some introduction to the video and talk about what this video will show. So if you are already a veteran player or someone that knows how to play the class well, this video probably won't be of much help to you. This video is more focused towards people that wanna start playing the class and wanna know the basics of the class and how to perform on PvP mode. As far as introductions go, I've been playing Stalker since I think 2016. Nova was my first renew server, but I'm not like the best at all. I'm not the best at all, but at least I can share some of my experience on the class. I think I can at least say something about it. So there we go. So let's jump right into the list of contents of this video. First of all, I want to talk about builds. I mean equipment builds. I know it's really standard stuff. Everyone knows already what to use as a full reduction class, but I wanna clarify that Stalker on PvP, it aims to have the most reduction possible, because your job is to stay alive. So I want to talk about builds, then we're gonna go to what copy skills do you want to have for BG and WoW, and we're gonna talk real quick about consumables, what to use, and then I want to show some tips and tricks on gameplay, nothing too fancy. So starting off with builds, that's what my Stalker currently uses. It's not the best gear available out there. I need to step up a bit, but let's slowly talk about it. So as you can see, I'm using the wall set here with different cards. Cards are very personal. I'm gonna talk about alternatives there, so bear with me for a little bit. Standard stuff is the blindfold on the middle slot and the clothing mount on the bottom slot. Top slot, I have a Warlord's Barret, but it's not the best option. I'm gonna show you what's the best option is in a little bit. So for armor, what I currently use is a +9 wall suits with Furious Ice Titan card, because I really enjoyed the 20% defense it gives, but you gotta sacrifice an accessory slot for it, because the 20% reduction only comes in a combo with the Furious Snower card. What else? On shield, Tara Frog card, nothing too fancy there. People sometimes have doubts on what shield to use. If you're facing someone that has high fire or water damage or shadow damage, you're gonna go with Valk shield. Otherwise, you're gonna stay with the Cursed Knight shield, which is a really good option. It gives you ASPD if you put it on +9. It gives you general reductions, which are pretty nice. For boots, the standard Green Ferals card, it gives max HP, it's really good, nothing too fancy there. On cape, I currently use Noxious, which gives neutral property resistance and long range damage resistance, but you have a lot of options for capes. I'm gonna show you in a bit. From my other accessory, I like to use the Kafra Blossom card or Prismatic Protection card, which is a really good card against warlocks and people that hate elemental damage in general. There's other options for accessories, but I find this one really nice to have, especially on WoW, where warlock is meta right now and it does a lot of damage. For switches, I always like to have a knife or main gauge with 4 slots, 4 of those having a Sense of Evil dex. Why? Because mask formula is affected by your dex. So you want to have the most dex as you can. And this knife gives you a lot of dex. Of course, you can't stay it on default because you're losing combat knife, and combat knife gives you 10% damage demi-human resistance, so it's really nice. Also, my combat knife is enchanted with 3 dex each slot, so 6 dex in total, which is really good. So that's one of the things you gotta have. You gotta have a knife for switching. So when do you switch? You switch when you think you're safe. If you're trying to mask a target that's hard to mask and you know you're not gonna take any damage, you might as well switch for the Dex Dagger. Another weapon I have for switching, especially for BG, not that I don't use it that well in WoW, is this is a weapon used for Faint Bomb. You wanna put 3 Bio 5 Dirty cards on it, and it's gonna increase your Faint Bomb damage. Usually against medium and low HP classes, you only need to weakness them and use a little combo that is really simple to use, and then you can kill with Faint Bomb. I'm gonna go in detail about Faint Bomb kills on the gameplay section of the video. For now, just know that this is an option to have. Of course, you can have, I use the blue one because that's the one I have, but the red one gives more flat attack, so it's better. You can also use, if you don't have money for it, you can also use a Scalpel. As long as it's a level 4 weapon, it's gonna be good and has slots. Another really cheap alternative but really risky is using a Crimson Bow. I've done some tests before, and I even played a tournament with it and it was really lucky. We actually won that tournament. So I used a Crimson Bow because I didn't have the Night Seeger or Scalpel at the time, and Crimson Bow deals somewhat the same damage, but you lose your shield, so it's really huge. The sole advantage of the bow is having the arrow equipped, and then your Faint Bomb is gonna have the element of the arrow equipped. So if the target is crystallized, you put the wind arrow, and then you're gonna deal a little bit of damage. Going into alternatives, so that's the hat. The hat that I wanna show that's the best option is the defensive Career Barret Awakened. It's good because it gives you a lot of demi-human resistance and has a slot. So on the top slot, you can put a lot of cards there. You can use Labial Mai, which gives fire resistance, or Maya Purple if you don't want to bring Box of Sunlight. Leaf Cat card, anyway, any card that gives you resistance, you can put it there. You can try to even put a Sense of Evil Dex if you want to use on PG. I don't recommend this for WoW. On WoW the damage is too high, so you really need all the resistance you can get. For Cape, as I said before, there's a lot of options for Cape. Basically what you want to have is a cape for each element. So Fire Cape, Long Ranged Cape, it's not an element but you get it. Wind, Water, Ghost, Neutral, Shadow, and so on. Because when you're facing like a really strong Warlock or someone that you know which element are hitting, you can switch the cape and it's gonna help you tank by a lot. Other options for accessories that you wanna have are, first of all, you can have the Kasvi ring. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's something like this. It's bought by Sishtok. It's basically a improved status recovery, but for that ring, only for switching, you can use the Yara card, which gives you status recovery. It's really huge. You can heal yourself of stasis. You can unfreeze teammates. You can help them. So it's really nice to have a Yara card. And as well, you can use a Horan card to have sight. It's especially useful against classes that have hiding or other stalkers when you're in a duel with them. For main accessory though, another alternative for it is the Alligator card. Alligator card gives long range reduction. It's really good if you're facing a really strong mech or, I don't know, Soulbreaker GX and so on. For armors though, there's a lot of options as well. First of all, you have the two standard cards before the illusion patch came, which are Angeling and Ghost Ring. Angeling enchants your armor with holy property, which gives a lot of elemental reduction, so it was a really good card to have. It still is a really good card to have against warlocks and all. Ghost Ring is really good to use against Sura or any form of neutral damage. You gotta keep in mind that Gates of Hell has partially neutral damage, first neutral damage, and Azra as well is first neutral, so really good to against Suras. Evil Druid card, I don't recommend this for WoW, only for BG. It enchants your armor with undead property, which gives you a lot of resistance to poison, and you can't be frozen and you can't be stun cursed. So on BG it's really nice to have, because people often will try to stun curse you, an enemy sorcerer or enemy warlock, or freeze you and using Storm Ghost or anything. So really good to have. The only downside, the main downside of this card is that it gives you really a really huge weakness to fire elements. So if you're facing a Crimson Rock Warlock, for example, do not wear this card, you're gonna get unshotted probably. And last but not least, a really good card as well to have is the Furious Gazette card. Furious Gazette card is good in comparison against Furious Ice Titan because it doesn't require a card to combo on your accessories. So if you wanna stack up a lot of range resistance, this is a really good card. You can have it comboing with 2 alligator cards and be really tanky against long range damage. I don't think any of you don't know this, but I wanna make sure that it is said on Ragnarok Online. If you're talking about attack, you want to have a lot of sorcerers of attack. So you don't want to stack too much like percent range damage, percent attack, or percent modifiers on skills. But for defense, the most you have of the same time, it stacks up additively. So it's really good to have a lot of stacked up defense of the same modifier. So for example, if you're having like long range resistance cards stacked up, you're gonna tank a lot. Or if you have a lot of demi-human, so it's not that great to change a lot of the modifiers. You wanna have a lot of the same ones, which are really good. So that's about it for builds. Okay, so let's talk real quick about what skills to copy on Stalker. Let's do it quickly because I only realized how long this video is getting after recording the build part. Sorry about that. I just want to make sure that everything is said correctly and it has enough information for new people. So for copied skills, you have 2 main options mostly. You're always gonna want to have Flying Kick on your Stalker because it's a huge mobility skill. You need it for masking, you need it. It's really good for masking people, for getting there, for jumping into stacks. So it's a must, in my opinion. But for the other skill, you have 2 main options. One for WoW and one for BG. I mean, one works for both, but the first option is Crazy Weed. Crazy Weed is really good. I'm gonna try to put some examples on the screen right now. But Crazy Weed is really good, especially on WoW, because you need to clear the ground skills for your guild. You need to clear the Pneumas, you need to clear the neutral barrier. If you wanna mask that sorcerer, you need to clear his wall of fog, and so on. It's really good to get yourself off vacuums and help teammates that fell into your manhole or enemy manhole, etc, etc. Crazy Weed is a really huge skill for WoW and it's needed. But the other option for BG mainly is Diamond Dust. Diamond Dust is a sorcerer skill that can crystallize your target, has a chance to crystallize, and crystallization is a really huge status because it doesn't let you pot. So if you're under enemy attack and you get crystallized, you're probably dead. So it's really good on BG because people don't have anymore the runes from RK, and they're unless they're using a 100% water build, which is really rare nowadays, they're gonna get crystallized eventually, which is really good. The third option though is having only Flying Kick. Why is that? And that is only for BG, of course, because on WoW you have your link status and it can be dispelled, but I'm gonna talk about it later. For BG, you can also have only Flying Kick because if you're facing a lot of enemy sorcerers there, they're gonna dispel your Preserve and you're gonna lose Flying Kick. And Flying Kick is really good to have. So what you can do is preserve any other skill, doesn't matter which, and use Reproduce to get Flying Kick. So even if you get dispelled, you're not gonna lose your Flying Kick. There's only one possible way of losing your Flying Kick on Reproduce, is if you get dispelled by a sorcerer and hit by an enemy flying kick, because the game is gonna recognize this as you're trying to copy the skill by using plagiarism, which is the rogue skill. So flying kick is gonna go to there and you're gonna lose it on reproduce. But other than that, if you get dispelled, you're not gonna lose flying kick. So it's really valuable to have on BG at least. So that's it about copy skills. Okay, so now let's talk about consumables. For consumables on Stalker, the list varies depending if you're talking about BG or WoW. For BG, you can get everything from Thelma just using Valor badges. I like to use all the plus 10 and plus 20 foods that are available there. I also use Mega White potions and BG Light Blue potions. You gotta get a quantity that you're comfortable with, because you can get messed easily if you overdo it. If you have a lot of weight, you're gonna get messed easily. So I also get Zerg potions because you need the SPD. It reduces animation. I get as well Death and M-Death potions, Quick for the move speed, and all the elemental proof potions. Also, don't forget about HP potions, HP increase potions, Strawberry Cake for the tiny little attack bonus, and Box of Gloom. Box of Gloom is good because it gives you concentration level 1, and then you can get extra decks. The more decks you have, the more masks you can land. For etceteras, I like to bring Thorn Plant Seed if I'm playing with Crazy Weed, and of course the paints to use your abilities. For WoW though, there's something different. You can't use any consumable that has the battleground name on it if you're playing WoW, but you can use everything that has cheat siege. So all the proof potions and etc. as well. In terms of potions though, it's a bit different because you can use you can use light blue potions on that. So what I like to use instead is violet potions. Violet potions are really good because they heal you on SP and HP. So if you stop potting HP pots to use SP pots, you'll also be healing your HP in the meantime. So that's it about consumables. I don't think there's anything else. They're pretty easy to get, and there's no secret about it. Oh, for WoW as well, one thing that you can have is butterfly wings. You gotta have them as soon as your guild leader tells you to get out of the castle to regroup and all. That's it. Okay, so we've gotten to the last part of the video, which is the gameplay part. I'm gonna reiterate again that if you're already an experienced player or a veteran one, it's not gonna be much helpful to you, but because this is focused towards newbie people that wanna jump right into BG or WoW with the Stalker class. So let me talk about what a Stalker does on PvP in general. Stalker is an offensive class, is an offensive support class, which is it helps your teammates by disabling your enemies. Instead of buffing up your teammates or healing them or usual support stuff, you help them by disabling the enemies. Your goal is to be very tanky. You need to stay alive a lot because you're in your front line. You're the front line of your guild or your team on BG, and that's why on the build part we focused on the best supportive gear to help you have high reductions and survive the most. So Stalker aims to be pretty annoying. My Stalker IGN, one of my Stalkers IGN is named Chato, which is annoying in Portuguese. Can mean other thing as well, but is annoying in Portuguese because that's the main goal of the class. You gotta be the most annoying you can. So in order to do that, you have to have focus. You have to know which classes to focus, and you have to control your cooldowns. Let's talk about some simple combos that a Stalker can do in the meantime. Your most simple combo is probably Flying Kick plus Escape. You use this to trap your enemy so he can't walk. If he's not a Sura or a Rebellion or anyone that has a snap ability, he's gonna be trapped there. So it's really good to to kill them. Anyways, the simplest combo is just pressing flying kick, and as soon as you land your enemy, you press escape. But if your enemy is walking, especially with Guyak speed and all, and sometimes you can't land this combo, you can do another thing, which is using flying kick plus close confine and then escape. This ensures that your enemy is trapped on your escape because you use a close confine on him. So you just jump into him, use close confine, and then you escape. Okay, so another very important thing that you have to keep in mind when playing Stalker is how to control slash bing bing slash bang bang. Slash bing bing slash bang bang is a control on the game that lets you rotate your characters. So why this is really huge? Because when you have good control of bing bing and bang bang, you can control your movement by using escape and feint bomb. So if you're like facing the opposite way that you wanna go, you can use feint bomb and escape in a quick succession and then walk that distance really fast. Another good thing you can do playing with bing bing and bang bang is while you are on your feint bomb invisibility, which is true invisibility, you can't even be revealed or seen if the enemy has box of sunlight, you can use bing bing and bang bang in the middle of it. So instead of traveling a straight line, you're gonna travel to a desired new area. So that can confuse your enemy, because if you're using feint bomb to a certain direction, he's gonna think that you're gonna escape to there as well, and then just travel further. But instead, you use bing bing or bang bang to go to rotate some like 90 degrees or something like this, making you unpredictable to them, which is really good. But what if you are trapped? Sometimes it's really common that you are gonna face an enemy stalker and you gotta be really wary of it. And one thing that can happen is that you get trapped by him. So if your enemy stalker traps you on his escape, or enemy ranger, what you can do to break the trap is two things. One is you can use the combo by hiding and raid 2 times, and this is gonna break the trap. Or you can just simply use remove trap. Both are viable options. I prefer to use raid because I think it's a bit faster. Sometimes the remove trap ability gives you some kind of animation delay, I don't know. I don't like to use it. I prefer to use the raid, but both are viable options to remove the trap if you're trapped, if you're ever trapped. Okay, so moving on the gameplay part, another thing that I want to talk about is that as a stalker, you gotta always have clear targets. So for example, if you're playing BG and you know there's a huge damage dealer there, usually Suras, GXs, Warlocks or RKs, you have to focus them first. So you start off by playing really safe. You gotta always watch out against enemy stalkers and enemy bards or performers in general, because they have the gloomy day debuff and harmonize that can pretty much make you dead in a matter of seconds. So one key thing about being a stalker player is always have your clear targets. You can't just randomly jump in and try to mask anyone in any order, because that most likely won't gonna work for you. So that's what you're always gonna have in mind. For dueling enemy stalkers, there are like 2 tips that I wish to share, which are okay-ish on dealing against enemy stalkers. First of all is that if you see that the enemy stalker always jumps in to ignore you, you can make use of this, because actually jumping into an enemy stalker and trying to mask him is pretty dangerous, because as soon as you jump in with flying kick, you're gonna have an animation delay of that one, and since we don't have 100% ACD anymore with Bragi, the animation is even higher with the delay. So what you can do is as soon as the enemy stalker jumps into you, you can just cast Ignore on yourself, because as soon as he jumps into you, he's gonna get masked instead, if you're lucky enough, right? This is a RNG battle, of course. You can fail the mask and he can land the mask, but that is a good thing that you can do. So don't always jump into the enemy's stalker with flying kick, because you're probably gonna get masked. Another thing you can do is that you can play with manhole, because manhole works like this. If you stay above your own manhole, anyone that jumps into it is gonna go right into the manhole. So that's really useful against enemy stalkers or enemy suras that wanna CC you. You just place the manhole on you and stay on top of it. Some people don't even see the manhole there, and then they're gonna jump right into it. Another advanced thing that you can do, it's not that easy to pull off, but you can do, is you place a manhole, and as soon as you see that someone is jumping into you, flying kicking into you, you can walk into your own manhole and you're gonna get trapped there. Sometimes this is really hard to pull off, but it's really worth it if you can land it. Okay, so another thing that I want to point out is that you're gonna check this out on the gameplays that I'm showing in the video, throughout the video, is that hiding is your best friend as a stalker. You're gonna wanna be the most time you can on target bow. So if you're using hiding a lot, people can target you, it's harder for them. So you wanna put hiding in the middle of your rotations. After you jump in, while in the middle of the stack, if you don't need to be seen, if you don't need to be outside of hiding to use some skill or something like this, stay on hiding. So always use hiding in your favor, because then you can be target with skills, you can be target with masks, and makes people life harder to deal with you. Okay, so let's show a little bit of BG clips and then talk about some stuff that I find important to talk about. First of all, I said I was gonna talk about the feint bomb kills, how you kill with feint bomb. So it's pretty simple. You actually have to weakness the target and use hiding plus rate, because rate increases the damage the target's gonna take. So it's really important to use rate, because sometimes it's the difference between killing the target or not. So in some of the clips I'm gonna show, you're gonna see me using this combo, flying kick, close confined, escape, hiding rate, and then switch to the feint bomb weapon and use feint bomb level 10. Another good thing to do against, this is for BG and WoW, but against creators or like genetics, you kind of wanted to mask both the genetic and the homunculus. You can try two things. First, you can use glooming on the genetic and it's gonna despawn the homunculus, or you can use igno on the homunculus and then the genetic can't use castling and can't reposition himself, so he's trapped on your escape or whatever. It's easier sometimes to mask the homunculus because genetic has high resist on masks. So if you can't gloom in the genetic, at least ignore the homunculus and he can't use castling. What you can do also is when you're playing BG and you're facing an enemy team, especially enemy stalkers or someone that can disable you, what you can do is get out of their view, the field of view, and then you can come back using the combo of feint bomb and escape. Because when you use this one, they're not seeing you. You were outside of their field of view, so you're gonna appear out of nowhere and then you can get them by surprise and mask them. Okay, so for WoW, there's also a couple of tips that I want to share. First of all, on WoW mode, the one thing that you need is alts. You just can't rely only on yourself, so you gotta log in an alt, at least a soul linker to give you a link, because on WoW this doesn't work on BG, but on the link, the Stalker link gives you immunity to dispel. So by doing this, you don't lose your flying kick, you don't get dispelled at all, which is really good. But yeah, for WoW mode, your goals are a bit different than on BG. While on BG you focus too much on individual gameplay and masking specific targets, on WoW you can also focus on masking specific targets, but your main goal here is to help your guild. You can do this by landing huge bloody lusts on the enemy stack, by using a lot of crazy weed, which is really important to clear the LP, to clear the Neumas, to clear the neutral barrier, to clear the vacuums, and so on. So on WoW, you gotta always remind to use the AoE skills, which are crazy weed and bloody lust. Sometimes it's even better to land a huge crazy weed and a huge bloodlust than masking one or two people. For mask targets, your mask priority on WoW should be, of course, the damage dealers, but if you can't mask the damage dealers, by some reason, you can try to focus the enemy RGs and by using weakness on them, because they're using Devo on their damage dealers, and if you weaken them, you're gonna lose the Devo, and then both the RG and the DPS are gonna be dead. And since RGs usually carry a lot of potions to tank on WoW, they are easier targets to mask than the damage dealers. Another thing you should always be aware of on WoW as well as on BG is the enemy performers, because they can gloomy you, and on WoW you can't be dispelled, so the only way to remove gloomy on you is by using a friendly clearance, which is kinda annoying because usually your friendly AB, your guildmate AB is gonna be on the back line and you're gonna be on the front line. So your targets are going to be the RGs and the performers. What you can target as well are ABs, because they give Lauda to the guild, and if you target them, if you ignore them, they can't remove Crystallize and Howling from their teammates, which is really huge in a GVG. But that's about it. On Stalker, at WoW, you're gonna have to think about in a bigger picture, not just focus targeting masks on specific people, but landing huge bloodlusts and also clearing the ground skills with crazy weight. Well, as you can imagine, this is finally the end of this video. I really hope you enjoy it. If you actually managed to watch it up until this end, I want to thank you for your attention and wish you all the good through all of us. I really want to thank everyone that helped me making this video, directly or indirectly. I'm not gonna name names because I may forget someone, so thank you everyone. I'm open to criticism, so if you have anything to add on this video to help making me improve this format, I'm open to it. So thank you a lot, and shall we all have great days.